Well, hey everybody, it's me, Mitch. This video contains a clip from one of my live streams where I've been encouraged by so many viewers to make a standalone video out of it. And the reason I'm doing this today is that of all the subscribers I have, most never come into the live streams or watch the replays. And this is important enough. And I think I did a pretty good job of making my case that it deserved a standalone video. If you've heard it before, wouldn't hurt to hear it again. If you haven't heard it, I think you'll find my take on cheating on carnivore to be very compelling. Enjoy it. There's a lot of carnivore YouTubers. A lot of them. And I can't find fault with that because I'm one of them. I mean, people that have the name carnivore in their channel name. So there's no mistake that they must think that they're carnivores because it says in the channel name, carnivore. And there are some people that would chastise me for drinking coffee because my channel name is Old Guy Carnivore. If it bothers too many people, I'll change the channel name to Old Guy Carnivore Who Drinks Coffee. Okay? But, you know, it's not an issue. Even if you're a little bit keto, you call yourself a carnivore. I mean, if you go to a scientific, you know, carnivore is not a word that was ever meant to mean a diet that you go on. It was meant to be a natural diet of a particular species. This animal is a herbivore. That animal is a carnivore. And then there's an omnivore, which is an animal that regularly eats both. And then there's subcategories. There's an obligate carnivore, and all have different meanings. But the accepted meaning for the term carnivore, when it pertains to animals, is that 70% or more of their diet is animal-related food, animal source food. That means 30% of their diet could be fruit and plants and other things, but yet scientifically they're still categorized, labeled as a carnivore. An omnivore, I would imagine, would be closer to 50-50. A herbivore would be maybe 70% of their diet is plants and 30% comes from animals. So in the scientific definition of the word carnivore, appropriately, it could mean a very sloppy keto, couldn't it? Very sloppy. If you're getting 30% of the food you eat from plants and you still consider, and 70% from meat, you're not even keto. You are a low-carb, 100 grams of carbohydrates a day person. And yet, scientifically, you could call yourself a carnivore. And sometimes I think that all of these carnivore YouTubers, even though they never heard what I just said or are unaware of the scientific criteria for using these different names, that's what they think they are. They think they're carnivores. They're nowhere near what we think of as carnivore. And then we've got the people who, of course, think that carnivore means no coffee, nothing but beef, salt, and water, you know, and take it to the opposite extreme, the perfectionists. But there's so many people have the word carnivore in their YouTube name. I mean, just go into a search engine and type YouTube carnivore, and I mean, it'll be endless. You'll get 500,000 pages of search results. And I follow some of them. And some of them have been added on YouTube just a lot longer than me. steak and butter gal. We all know these people. Laura Spath. We all know. Certainly Ken Berry. Certainly Chafee. Sean Baker. We know who these people who've been around a long time, and we also know all the keto people. We've seen them too. The keto people that have been around for ages. People with channel names like Two Crazy Ketos, the Keto Twins. I've watched so many of all of the videos from all of these people, and there was one channel that I admire. And they grew into a very successful channel. And I hate to mention names, and I'm not trying to put them down in any way. They're great people, and they put out great content, and they've had so many helpful messages in the past. And many of you are probably subscribers and probably love these two people. And I'm fond of them. And the reason that it upset me so much was because I want to, like a stern father, I want to go up, find him, and smack him in the head and say, what the hell are you thinking? What the hell are you thinking? You should know better than to do the shit you're telling us you're doing. And I'll tell you who I'm talking about. As long as you don't think I'm trying to put them down, I'm not. To me, what these nice people are people who haven't quite accepted yet in their reality the crushing power that addiction has over them. They still haven't awakened to the fact that they can't and never in their life will ever be able to control that addiction. I don't care what they do. And I'm talking about Larry and Cassie, Carnivore Quest. Everybody knows them. I've been watching them for years. I love them. They're great people. But every so often, up comes the video. I fell off the wagon. I went on a 2-week binge. This was the one I saw the other day. I shouldn't have done it. I'm sorry. My wife didn't. She's pissed at me. I'm going to do better. I'm going to take this challenge or that challenge. I'm going to go BBB&E. I'm going to fix it. Why did he fall off the wagon? Because he and his wife decided for their 21st anniversary, they were going to go out and have a cheat meal. One cheat meal at a fancy restaurant. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a wonderful thought, don't you think? It's a wonderful thought. A great gesture. Surely, after all this time, as many times as we've done long fasts and as many challenges as we've been on, as much as we have sacrificed sticking to carnivore, as much weight as they've lost and gained and lost and gained and lost and gained and lost. Surely we're entitled to just spend one important anniversary like normal people. And that's our mindset. And if you feel like you're being deprived and you don't have the privilege like normal people to eat in these fancy restaurants, all the stuff that we don't eat on carnivore, there's a problem. There's something wrong. If carnivore hasn't rid you of that, and this is the important part, and this is the point I'm trying to make. If you've been on carnivore faithfully for a year or two or more, and you still feel like you're missing out on something, then something is wrong. You're not doing it right. You haven't given up the sweet tasting drinks. You do cheat a little too often. You have not given your mind and your body time to learn that it doesn't need that shit. You keep feeding your addiction, even if it's just one bite at a time, and you will never be content being a carnivore until you become a 100% meat eater. And drink coffee if you want. The concept of cheating, the concept of a cheat meal, should not even enter your mind. There should be no allure to it. You should not look forward to it. You shouldn't want to do it. You shouldn't have the desire. You should be thinking about bacon and eggs and a steak. That's what should be attracting your attention. That's what you should be yearning for. Not a cheat meal, not a bite. And it's so hard to do long enough to where you finally get over that hump, where all the changes in your physiology put you there, like they did with me. It didn't happen in a month or 2 or 3. It didn't happen fully, not even after a year of nothing other than meat. But now, over 2 years, I can truly say that the concept or thought of me feeling sorry for myself because I'm missing out on eating in fancy Italian restaurants with tiramisu for dessert is the furthest thing from my mind. And if I went to that Italian restaurant and sat there at a table and watched people eat tiramisu and all that fancy food, I would feel sorry for them and probably go over and sit down with them and give them a carnivore lecture. That's where you will get to. And I look at people who have been preaching carnivore properly and helping hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people. Give it a try. People that I admire. But somehow they have not reached that state of mind that I have. I have to wonder why. I'm not any different than any other human being. I'm not superhuman or a different species. It's happened to many of us, not just me. And the one thing that I say, the one piece of advice that I give, that I learned that worked for myself years ago when I started to treat this as an addiction. That to me, when I had that epiphany years ago, that this is not a dietary problem, this is an addiction problem. How do you treat an addiction? Well, Mitch, you abstain. How the hell can I abstain from food? Well, you don't abstain from food. You abstain from carbohydrates and plants. There's still plenty of food. You can still eat. It's not a food addiction. It's a carbohydrate addiction. Stop saying food addiction. Okay, I'll stop saying food addiction then. And I still say it out of just like a force of habit. A carbohydrate, a substance addiction. And I found that the best tool for me when early on, when I was faced with a dilemma. Well, I'm at this birthday party, and everybody's coming up to me with cake in their hand saying, here's some birthday cake. And I'm saying, no, thank you, no, thank you. Why not? They say. Well, I just, I don't eat. I don't want to eat. Well, you should. It's a birthday party. Have a piece of cake. Well, I'm on this diet. Well, it won't hurt you just once. No problem. Just once. Don't insult the birthday girl. Eat the cake. And I finally have to just say, happy birthday, sweetie. I'm out of here. And leave because I'm being assaulted with birthday cake. The temptations are all there. I'm an addict. I can't tell people I'm an addict. Now, if you're an alcoholic, you're an addict. If you go to a party and somebody comes up to you, hey, have a drink, celebrate. We're celebrating her birthday. No, thank you, I don't drink. Oh, come on, just one, it won't hurt. The same thing happens. But you can say the magic words to those people. I'm sorry, I am a recovering alcoholic. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I understand. Good on you. Good on you. Hey, man, good luck with that. I'm proud of you. That's all you have to say to somebody to get them to stop. I'm a recovering alcoholic. How far would we get saying, I can't eat that birthday cake, I'm a recovering carb addict? Do you think anybody would do anything but laugh at you? And that's because the way we as a society look at carb addiction, it's a non-thing to most people, and all the people who are making a fortune and benefiting from our carb addiction don't want us to view it as an addiction and compare it to an alcoholic. But if you ever want to succeed, and this is my shtick, don't hear it anywhere else, not as emphatically as I put it out. And it frustrates me that I don't hear more of it. My shtick. If you think you can cure your carb addiction without treating it with exactly the same rules that an alcoholic has to treat his addiction, and the main rule is you will never, ever, not once, in the rest of your life, let a drop of alcohol pass between your lips. Because that's all it will take to undo all the years of work that you've done. You may be a recovered addict, but you're still, and always will be, an addict. And that's true for me with carbs. And I know for a fact that even after 2+ years, one frigging blueberry, and my cravings would come back full blast. And until the other carnivore YouTubers, with all their recipes and all their advice and all of their challenges, just learn this simple fact and accept this fact. The recidivism rate of the people that follow them will be so high, it's absurd, because that we are addicts. And carbohydrate addiction is the strongest addiction on the planet. That's my opinion. My opinion. Now, anybody who's not a carbohydrate addict, and there are some lucky people, not a lot of them, but there are, they can't identify with this. And I find that easy to understand. I find it easier than most to understand because I don't drink. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm the furthest thing I'm an anti-alcoholic. I don't even like the taste of the shit, you know? So I can understand how a non-addict might not understand what an addict is going through. So somebody that's not a carb addict thinks it's just a matter of willpower. They tell you, yeah, put on your big boy pants. Just say no. You can't. They don't understand how addiction works. There's no willpower. We're slaves to it. That's why drug addicts can't give up drugs. That's why alcoholics can't give it up. They can stay sober for a while, but inevitably all of them who quit drinking will start drinking again because they had that one cheat drink. And Larry, you cannot, and this is my advice, you cannot under any circumstances for the rest of your life have not a cheat bite, let alone an entire cheat meal, or you are sentencing yourself to a lifetime of falling off and struggling to climb back on the wagon. And if I knew him personally and he could listen to me, I would try to hammer that point home. He might think I'm right, he might think I'm wrong, but the evidence is there, time and time again. We all know the people that try and fail. The evidence is there that I'm right.